Hello and welcome to our third webinar designed specifically to help you have greater success in 2020. And this webinar in particular is how to bring greater success into your life by having the right self-image. Now, the reason why we're covering that is because what the researchers have found is that in actual fact, it's our self-image. Now, our self-image is how we see ourselves, not how others see us, but how we see ourselves, actually sets the boundaries of our own accomplishment, of our results. So if you're not getting the results that you believe you are worthy of, first step to look at is actually your self-image. Now, this discovery came about in the 1960s by a doctor of the name of Maxwell Maltz. Now, Maxwell Maltz was actually a plastic surgeon. He was working with people with major, particularly facial disfigurements. He was doing plastic surgery well beyond the time of the facelift and the tummy tuck. What he noticed, though, was how his patients changed after surgery. They all came away looking positively different. They'd lost maybe that horrific scar or that peculiar bump on their face had disappeared. But what he noticed was that in some patients, they changed their behavior, the way they felt and acted for the positive. And yet there was no psychological change whatsoever, and they weren't any more happier or successful in their lives. So this led Maxwell to do a lot of research, and he ended up writing the book Psycho-Cybernetics, psycho being Greek for of the mind, and cybernetics being the science of communications and automatic control systems in both machines and living things. So what Maxwell Maltz has found is that in actual fact, we have two images. We have the image we project on the world. Now, that's the image, we get our hair done, we know how to walk tall or how to make a good first impression on people if we're going into a meeting. And then we have the image that we see ourselves in, and that's our self-image. And what Maxwell Maltz has found, it's the image we see ourselves as is the image that reflects our results. So no matter how much we diet or fix our hair or clothes or exercise or apply for jobs or promotion, if we don't change our self-image, the way we see ourselves, our results fundamentally won't change. So if you aren't happy with your results currently, a great step for you having a brilliant year in 2020 is to have a look at what's going on inside and how do you see your self-image. So the first question we need to ask ourselves is where does our self-image come from? Well, interestingly enough, and again, researchers have really changed a lot on this, our self-image is created from our DNA, our conditioning, primarily from our early years carers, so often our parents, and from our life experience. Now, what has changed in terms of the research is to find how much of our self-image, who we are, has actually come from our genetics. So when you look at a baby and you think, well, this is just a beautiful blank slate, and they end up becoming the person they are on how their parents have conditioned them. But in actual fact, so many of our traits now have been found to be genetically passed on to us. Fascinating traits. Things like infidelity is a genetic trait. Now, I'm not saying that means that you have take no responsibility in playing the field, but it's interesting. Insomnia, fear, procrastination, risk aversion, optimism, are all passed on genetically. And then, of course, we've got our conditioning. So how our parents raised us. Did they believe in us? Did they continually tell us we were stupid? Because all of that is going to mold and shape the self-image we have of ourselves, as well as what happened in our life and what success or what things have come to us. The good news, though, irrespective of what self-image you were dealt with, you can change. And whether your self-image is good, bad, or indifferent, it can always be improved upon. And when we improve on our self-image, it will quite simply improve our results. Because at the core of all of us, right down there in our subconscious, there is an image of perfection. We already have beautiful creative faculties and wonderful inherent skills. You are actually everything you need to be successful in this world. You are enough and you are perfect. Except for most of us, you haven't realized it yet. And the reason we rarely see our perfect inner selves is that they are clouded by doubt, fear, worry, false concepts, beliefs, and insecurities that have come from our conditioning. So as a result, we see a very different self-image. And it's that self-image that is producing our results. Now, I know certainly one of my clients raised it recently. She felt, well, it's just not fair. You know, as a baby, we're powerless. You know, we can't control our genetics. And she's right, we can't. And it may well seem unfair. We can sit and go, well, it seems unfair. Or we can go, well, do you know what? This is the hand I was dealt. And I have a choice on how I play that hand. And you know what? I can actually change it. So we all have a beautiful self-image. It's just hidden. You can find that self-image. It absolutely is your choice. And if you choose to do the work that I'm going to take you through, and in actual fact, it's not that hard, you will find your self-image will change, and excitingly, your results will change. So let's have a look at what this self-image is all about. Well, our self-image, if we go back to Maxwell Maltz, is a cybernetic mechanism. It's a controlling mechanism. So your self-image is a bit like a thermostat in a room. So if you go slightly off course, just like if the room gets too hot or too cold, the thermostat will either put the air conditioning on or the heater on to keep you at that optimal temperature. And that's exactly what our self-image does. So if you followed our webinar 1 on how to get paid what you are worth, and you set yourself this wonderful, brilliant, worthy goal, you need to have a self-image that stands up to that worthy goal. So you need to turn up the temperature, if you like, on your self-image, and you need to be able to stay at that temperature so that your self-image achieves that goal. But what you found for most of us, because we haven't really thought about our self-image, our self-image thermostat is doing a great job of keeping us where we have internally said we want to be. So weight loss is a classic. How many of you have actually, over the years, oh my goodness, I've got a girlfriend who just goes, I go from one diet to another. She's done everything, the keto diet, the cabbage diet, you name it. And on all of those diets, absolutely, she loses weight. Woohoo! But then what happens? Her self-image thermostat kicks in, goes, uh-oh, we're too thin. We've got a fat self-image. So the weight comes piling back on. Money is another one for women. And for many women, I know, they just go, I never seem to have enough money. And let me tell you, this was a real flaw in my self-image. Now, when I looked at my self-image through the Thinking into Results program last year, I realized I liked a lot of my self-image. I knew I was compassionate. I knew I could be really insightful with my clients and motivating them to get into a much better place. I knew I was a change maker. And I also knew I was rubbish at bringing the money in for me. So I started to have a look and think about, where did these beliefs, these, if you like, hang-ups around money, and I realized it was all due to my beautiful grandmother. My grandmother had a bucket load of sayings all around money. It was things like, money is the root of all evil. Money in my household growing up, I grew up with my grandma, money was it was like it was a bad word. I was always told money doesn't grow on trees. Money can't buy you happiness. And absolutely, it's totally unladylike to talk about money. And these expressions I heard daily, along with, we can't afford it, we don't have the money. So that's how I was growing up, and it was really interesting. That really shaped and conditioned my self-image. So even things like, I was working in a great job, great salary, no children. I'd still, in clothing shops, head towards the bargains, the sales ends, because we can't afford it. We don't have the money. We're still, even though really, I look back there now that I've had children, I go, oh my goodness, Tracy, you had the money. But that is very much how I was conditioned. And when I realized early on last year when this needed to be changed, was in actual fact, here I am coaching a woman. We're coaching her to get a couple of steps up the ladder of success for her, a new internal promotion. And I was helping her firstly, not only to get that promotion, but B, to get paid what she was worth, because I'm so passionate about women being paid what they're worth, except at the time, except for me. So she was looking for and hoping for a $20,000 pay increase. I coached her, and to her credit, this is what she negotiated with my coaching. She got an $80,000 pay increase, pretty good. And when she said to me, Tracy, how much do I owe you for the coaching? Do you know what I said? Because it's unladylike to talk about money. I went, oh, don't worry about that. Buy me a coffee. Seriously, that's what I said. And you know what? I never got the coffee, which is just shows that my self-image, this whole thing about not being worthy of being paid for the great work that I do, and not being able, not that money coming in is a bad thing, that was really limiting me financially. So that, let me tell you, has changed. And because I've changed my self-image, the results are so changing, and I'm so delighted. So this is my new self-image. Now, before you all go, oh my gosh, she's got a self-image, she's the size of elephants. No, that's not what it's about. At my core of my self-image is money. And money is my best friend, because money, like it does for all women, and it's why I'm passionate about helping women with this in particular, gives you freedom, it gives you choice, and it gives you independence. What I've also realized for me is that money will give me greater power, and it's greater power for good. So I've got some projects that I'm going to be launching this year, and one of them is around saving the African elephant. I have always loved elephants. When I was 13, 13, 14, 15, 16, I had elephants all around, posters around my bedroom. And that species is now starting to get close to endangered. So I want to protect that. I've got a great idea for long-term unemployed and growing herbs. I've got another program that I really want to look at about young adults when they leave the foster care system, because I know how harsh it is not to have family around you to support. So what I've realized is not only am I worthy of money, but by inviting more money in, I can actually do so much more stuff, which makes me really, really excited. So let's have a look at what you need to do to make this change so that the money comes in for you, or whatever it is that you're after. The first thing is to actually embrace the great traits that you have. For me, I know I'm compassionate. I know I'm insightful with clients. I know I'm a change maker for clients. So that's something to really embrace. The other thing is to capture the powerful new additions. For me, it was all around the money, embracing money, seeing that me having money, I'll be an even better person. I can affect for the positive even more people, which is just fantastic. So embrace your current existing beautiful traits and then capture what you believe are the changes you need. And then I want you to write a new description of you. Write it in the present tense. Start off with the saying, I am so happy and grateful. I am a beautiful woman that, and describe yourself in full detail. Then what I want you to do is go through this process of embedding that new image daily. So firstly, I want you to write out that description of yourself. If you like, that new script of who you want to be. Imagine you're an actress learning a new part. This is what you're learning. You're learning who the new you is. When you write that out, stop. Take some slow, deep breaths and really visualize yourself as that person. Start acting as if you are that person. Be the star of your own movie. Stop being the supporting actor, or even worse, the actress, the extra in that movie. But do this daily. So say, for example, I've always loved Pasquale pearls, and near where I work, there's one of their stores there. And these are expensive pearls. And there's a necklace there that I've often seen on plane ads that I go, oh, I like that. Last year, when I didn't have the money, now I do, but last year I went into that store, tried it on, worked out which necklace I was going to buy. But that's me behaving in the way of this new self-image, that isn't worried about the money, the new self-image that invites money in. That's the sort of things that I want you to do on a daily basis. Act the way you should be acting with this new self-image until you really lock that in. When you lock in a new self-image, you will find your results will come. They won't come until you change your new self-image. So it really is 2020. It's a new year. It's a new decade. It's time you unleashed your success in this world. If you would like any support in upgrading your self-image, do contact us. Click on the link below to have a free discovery call on that. But really it's a time for you to invest in you so that you get the results you truly deserve. Enjoy.